With the last two videos I've done featuring Boros, I thought it was only fair if I put him against an actual challenger at his final round. Today we're going to be featuring final for Monsterised Garou as recommended by Godzilla King of Monsters. After this I'll stay away from Boros for a little bit and I'll come back to him in a way later date. But for now, let's get into Boros for this final Monsterised Garou. I will not be using any cosmic Garou scaling, nor will I argue that if Monsterised is defeated, Cosmic will come in, like with Saitama, because I think that's just disingenuous and kind of ruins the point of the topic. As a result, we'll go fully for the final four Monsterised Garou. This topic kind of gets brought around due to the fact one and Murata were kind of pushing that these two were equal a couple years back. However, we have enough substance now to actually see who would win, and we should not really take the statements to be valid because a lot of them kind of get contradicted. Time does pass and time does corrode everything. So I think I'll start with Garou. Garou, even before fully monsterizing, is able to fight the likes of Sage Centipede. Sage Centipede should be superior to another guy called Orochi. Orochi has his final trump card, which is the Guardian Cannon. The Guardian Cannon absorbs energy from the Earth's core and is around multi-continental and a couple of exoton range, but it's still multi-continental. Sage is designed to fight Saitama. Saitama is the abominable fist fight turned against God via killing Orochi, as Orochi was used as a sacrifice for Sage. So therefore, Sage can deal with someone who can basically one-shot Orochi. As a result, he should be in that one-shot above Orochi tier. A one-shot One Punch Man is a 10 times difference, just for reference. So Sage is 10 times stronger than Orochi. Or at least he's 10 times stronger than someone who can flat out just take the piss out of Orochi. So Sage is that strong already. I will put the numbers on later, and then we have Garou just being blatantly above Sage, chopping him in half like a bloody, I don't even know, like butter. Then Sage himself is already continental just via pure size, and we've got Evil Ocean Water who's multi-continental via pure size. So again, this multi-continental agenda seems to be pretty consistent, but we know that Garou gets significantly stronger afterwards. Even Sage, going back to Sage, should be superior to likes of Sakusa, Orochi and Tatsumaki, or at least the Tatsumaki we see who can deal with Sakusa Orochi. This is due to the fact that God will have seen their fight after, because it takes place before Sage is like, I don't know if he's alive or not, but like spawned in on the map. As a result, he should have the ability to deal with Tatsumaki. Could be pretty illogical if God summoned him and then Tatsumaki just kind of, you know, let me flick, just wipes him out of existence. So he should scale up with the likes of Sakusa Orochi. Sakusa Orochi is a really solid 19 exoton continental disc slash, which is already multi-continental, questioning into the moon levels of power. So Sage is already about what, 20 exotons of power already, and Garou literally karate chops him in a weaker state. Not weaker state, but just compared to a fully monsterized Garou. Now to wrap up this version of Garou's scaling, at least in crossovers with feet, before we start going to Boros and Garou's speed as well. This version of Garou is easily able to create small planetary to arguably pilot levels of destruction, fighting Saitama, moving tectonic plates, and just like crashing around, throwing yada yada stones apparently. As a result, this Garou is starting to approach planetary, which might be consistent with the fact that he believed he could take on Saitama. The same Saitama states himself he feels like he wants to blow up the planet. So I think planetary Garou, at least in his final form, may be decently justifiable and narratively consistent. So that's where I think Monsterised Garou caps. At least decently into planetary, not just base planetary. For speed, it's a lot more simple. He has one notable thing we should go over. He's able to completely blitz Platinum S. Platinum S can move at 4.33 times the speed of light, and if you calculate the perception blitz within the context of Platinum S and yada yada, you get about 300 times faster than light. Now, the one thing we should note with Garou is that unlike someone like Boros, Garou has his insane martial arts. Even he surpasses the likes of Bang and Bong, who are commonly stated to transcend martial arts as like a whole. They are just so competent. Garou can fight people way above his pound range via just be able to hold on via the martial arts. Take Dark Shine for example, or Saitama, to the point he can kinda deal with Saitama, granted Saitama's holding back. So Garou, in conclusion, would scale to about small planetary to planetary, with about 300 times faster than light. And then with his martial arts, we can probably say if someone's a one shot above him, he can somewhat keep up without just getting blitzed. The deal with Garou, you probably need to be above a one-shot, or you need to completely perception blitz him to the point his martial arts can't do anything since he is physically unable to do anything about it. So that is kind of where Monster Garou caps. Now, what about Boros? Boros' scaling, as I've already said twice, is pretty contentious. However, the main argument that suggests Boros is complete fodder comes from the manga where he proclaims while fighting Saitama his collapsed sovereign can is going to obliterate Saitama and the planet's surface. Destroying the planet's surface is pretty a formidable attack. However, it can only get into multi-continental. Even with the context of Boros being able to completely vaporize anything he touches, and in a data book it completely contextualizes it further for us, saying it's going to shave the planet and erode the spear. Getting vaporization on the planet's surface is small planetary already. However, as I've already highlighted in my other two videos pretty clearly, it's a mistranslation. It's just not valid. It's a mistranslation from the manga and the webcomic. So multi-continental Boros has already been debunked. So now, where does Boros scale? Well, there are a plethora of statements that call him a planet buster, even a collapsed sovereign cabinet or his other forms. However, as I'm going to show, I believe the planet stuff is for his forms and not the collapsed sovereign cannon. If it's collapsed sovereign cannon, it can get way higher. While in the secret compass it's called a star buster, directly stated it's going to blow away stars. Within the data book, it also goes on to state, if you translate it correctly, that Saitama vs Boros is a battle that shook the stars. You know, the intention is pretty clear that they're on that stellar levels of power, will be able to, affect like star bodies or whatever, these massive celestial bodies. But people will argue, well, no, because that's his mistranslation, and yeah. But just for that, let's go into how Boros and Garou are compared to Saitama. Boros is able to make Saitama consider him nearly a real fight. Saitama had absolutely no reason to lie here. There is no reason for him to be wrong. There is no reason for him to be disingenuous. He is telling his honest opinion here. Then he called Boros multiple times to be strong. You really are strong. Even if Boros survives the serious punch for a couple of seconds afterwards, Saitama claims, you really are strong. He is genuinely impressed with a smirk on his face. Saitama is impressed by Boros countless times. Multiple data books say that Saitama was clobbered on the defense and was getting completely overwhelmed by Boros even in his released form. Now let's compare it to Garou. Saitama actively holds back against Garou, wanting to talk to Garou, and doesn't really take Garou too much of a threat, not even considering him a proper monster. As a result, Saitama's how hard he's hitting Garou should be just considered to what Garou's scaling already is, which is already planetary, small planetary. The one instance where Garou has a debatably better achievement is when in his final form, Saitama uses consecutive normal punches against both of these characters, and Garou's final Boros is nearly eradicated. The problem is the Boros that Saitama is fighting would be seen as a bigger threat than Garou, and therefore Saitama would be using more force and more power against his Boros. Why do I say this? Well, because Garou is only planetary, while Boros has many planetary statements, even in meteoric bursts, which are way more concrete. And as like I said, Boros is considered strong and gives Saitama the defense, while Garou doesn't do any of that. Garou is considered a joke to Saitama. So this character who is not a joke is the character who can literally put you in a defense. Which one are you going to take more seriously? I think the one where putting you in defense is going to be a bigger threat. So Boros does not get downgraded here, and even so, it's not been animated, but the Boros that takes it in the anime takes way more punches than the one that takes it in the manga for Garou. But that's kind of headcanon-y and a bit disingenuous, but I thought I'd mention it. So Boros is easily physically stronger to Saitama than what Garou was. This can just be smacked down even further, but Boros states his body goes past the limitations of living flesh, and in the data book, or the secret compass I should say, this is even supported further, saying his body goes past the physical limitations. Could this imply that Boros broke his limiter in meteoric burst is up to you. However, what it should say is that Boros is above anyone physically who isn't just directly connected to God, or is Saitama. So Boros, at least in physical strength and probably speed, since Boros's power and speed is basically net connected, since he's like a frontal fighter, and his speed is comprised from his latent energy, which is literally what he punches with. So his physical AP and speed should be relative. So he should be faster and stronger than Garou, which is supported by a calculation where Boros completely blitzes. So this suppressed round to one Saitama again for 6,000 times faster than light. So Boros is physically stronger and physically faster than Saitama. No, not Saitama, Garou, I should say. That'd be weird if he's stronger and faster than Saitama. This is Ultima several hours later since I had stopped recording midway, so I'm back. So in conclusion, from what we have deprived, is that Boros is more than a one-shot above Garou. If you really want to disagree with me, we can easily just pull out the star level Klepstaronian cannon, or we can go into multipliers. However, I don't think that'd be necessary. And for speed, Boros is a possibly 300 to 400 faster than light compared to nearly 7,000. Perception blitz ? As a result, Garou has literally no method to at all react and intercept to Boros' punches. So even with that special martial arts, turns out the power and brawn beat the brains.